Hi class, so today I'm here talking on behalf of Group 2, and our topic is littering in America. There's about 51 billion pieces of litter found throughout the United States, and our goal for this speech is to help educate you on the effects that littering has, such as the cost, the effects on the environment and animals. Speaking of that, our three main points are why people litter, and a little bit of background on littering, and the cost to clean up litter in the United States, the effects that it has on the environment, and our last point, the effects that it has on animals and wildlife. So moving on to our first topic, the source that we used is Key Findings, the cost of America's litter, and that was on January of 2010 by Litter in America. We found this on an online search, and we chose this source because it talks about a little bit in depth the cost that it has on society. So to give you a little bit of information first on what littering is, why people do it, by the dictionary, litter is defined as consisting of waste products that have been disposed of improperly without consent at an inappropriate location. And moving on to why people tend to litter. People tend to litter, and it really just comes down to as simple as being lazy. People think that they're not responsible for their trash and think that other people are going to clean it up. And unfortunately, there are those good people who do clean it up, but people should not rely on that. People wouldn't have to go up and clean up stuff if we would just pick up our trash, take it to our destination and throw it then, not just toss it out the window. I couldn't tell you how many times I have seen people throw out a bottle or a bag of McDonald's or a bag of Whataburger out their window while they're driving. And I just think that it would be a lot better if we just hold on to that trash and throw it away once we get to our destination. What destination do we go to that doesn't have a trash can? It's as simple as that. So moving on to the cost of litter, which is still on our first main point. According to Litter in America, businesses, and taxpayers spend about $11.5 billion each year to clean up litter. Imagine what we could do with that money if we would just take our trash to whatever destination we're going to, or don't just throw it out into the environment. And 80% of that is made up by businesses. Businesses, when they're wanting to expand and have, open up new businesses on land that has not been quite established yet or doesn't have a building, most of the time they have to pay to get the land cleaned up because of the amount of litter that has been built up. And that is the sum of why people litter and the cost of littering. And so now that we have talked about cost, we're going to move on to how it affects our environment. We use the same source as our first point. We decided to go with this source again because it goes in depth on the negative impacts that it has on our economy. Thrown away jars and bottles do not biodegrade properly and has a significant amount of litter. Is a part of the litter at a huge amount. The environmental outcomes due to litter have economic impacts. This includes the loss of tourism revenues, expenses to repair vehicles, restoration of ecosystems, wildlife injury, and ultimately the cost of human health. And so, now that we've talked briefly about how it affects our environment, we're going to move on to how it affects our wildlife. We use the source, the effects of littering on the environment and animals. We chose this source because it goes in depth onto how animals are affected by this litter that we are causing, and we found this source during an online search. Animals such as crabs, birds, and other small I had to adjust it just to see my main points, but small animals such as crabs, birds, and other small critters go into these thrown away bottles and jars and get stuck. They go into there in search of food and water, and end up getting stuck, and sadly end up getting really sick and probably dying due to the lack of nutrition that they're not getting. Soil absorbs the toxins from litter and the polluted water, which affects the plants and crops. Animals eat this contaminated crops and drink the polluted water, which again can make them very sick and unfortunately make them die. And so if we were to eliminate litter, our soil would not be contaminated, nor the water. Therefore, letting these animals live the healthy lifestyle that they should be. And it's really just sad to think of the fact that selfish people are impacting animals and critters who have nothing to do with this issue. I just wish people would kind of open their eyes to that. And I would love to talk about that more, but I know I'm limited on my time. So ways that we can help prevent litter, and this is following up to our conclusion. A few ways to help is to keep a litter bag in your car. Don't throw away trash out the window. Like I told you, I don't know how many times I see that. If we would not just throw it out and hold on to that until we get to our destination. Travel with reusable water bottles, and even when you go grocery shopping, invest in those $1 bags that you can take back to that store and reuse them. I know one company that does this is Aldi's. They don't provide bags. You can either use the boxes that they have, so that's recycling, or you can purchase reusable shopping bags, which is great. I know a lot of stores that do that, and that's really awesome that they're making those efforts to help decrease waste. And a good one is to not put anything in the bed of a truck. It is very easy for things to fly out, and it would just help if we didn't do that, because if we store it in the truck, the likelihood of it coming out or flying out is 1 to none. So to wrap up our speech, the goal for our speech was to help educate you and the community on the effects of littering in our society. Our thesis for our speech was littering causes negative impacts on the world around us, such as the cost to clean up litter, the effects on the environment, and the effects on wildlife. And our 3 main points, again, were why people litter and the cost to clean up litter in America, the effects that littering has on the environment, and the effects that littering has on the wildlife and animals. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to our speech, and I hope that we have encouraged you to not litter and keep America beautiful. Thank you.